Today is October the 23rd, 2015. My name is Tanya Finchum, along with Alex Bishop, and we're with Oklahoma State University. Today we are in Shawnee, Oklahoma, to speak with W.R. Qualls, and this is part of our Oklahoma 100-Year Life, so thank you for having us. Let's...
Okay.
Let's start with having you tell us when and where you were born.
Well, I was born Worcester, Oklahoma. I'm not in the town. We were country folks, had a farm out of Worcester, Oklahoma. I believe it was LaFleur County.
So southeast.
Yeah. In 1915, I believe.
Okay.
I believe that was right. Anyway, they say I'm 100 years old. I don't feel like it, but sure I look like it.
What month?
September 11.
So just recently turned 100.
Yes.
How did you celebrate?
Oh, they didn't do much. Some of the families came in and kicked me around a little.
So what did your parents do for a living?
Farmers. Grew cotton, corn, and no tractors. My dad had horses, and he kept, I don't know whether you know what a mare is, but it's a female horse. They'd have a mule colt each year. And he raised several mule colts and we'd break them to work at a 2-year-old. And in my teens, he thought I should learn that trade too. And I broke a few young mules to work myself.
So you had to work in cotton too?
Oh yeah. Pick cotton. Hardest job in the world, I guess.
Well, did you have brothers and sisters?
I had 2 brothers older than I, 2 sisters older than I, and 2 brothers younger than I. And one was our birthday. I was 2 years the oldest, but our birthday was the same day. And as we grew up, people thought we were twins. But and I had a wonderful mother and dad. Oh, they were sent from God.
Well, can you describe the house that you grew up in?
Well, I can just up to how old?
Well, as early as you can remember.
I can remember that my dad and my neighbors built a house. I don't know how many rooms, but it was plenty for the family. And when we'd have company, if we didn't have enough chairs to seat everybody, and it didn't make any difference whether we were young or old. If we sat down on the bed, Mother would move us right quickly. We'd say, well, what good was that? Sit on the floor. And the house was real adequate. Wasn't fancy like some today, but and they also, I believe, built a big barn. And that was when I was in my teens.
Did it have running water?
Oh no, had a big porch all the way across the front, and the well was on the south end of the porch, and we could stand on the porch and draw the water from the well.
Didn't have to go too far.
No, no.
Would you have to share a room? Bedroom?
Oh yeah, well, how did we do that? Although my brother, my brother that were my age, we had a room to sleep. We had rooms for everybody to sleep comfortably.
How was it heated?
Had a big fireplace with wood chunks.
Kind of get cool in the winter?
Well, we thought we were in good shape.
Did your mother quilt?
Yes, she did. And she drew her work up to the ceiling in the front room. And there was a quilt up most of the time she was making. Yeah, yeah.
Do you still have any?
I'm sure we do, some of the family.
Good. Or where did you go to school? Like first grade, where did you go?
It was called Liberty School. Little one room, just one big room, from the primer through the 8th grade as a teacher.
How would you get there?
Walk about a mile, a little over a mile.
What would you take for lunch?
Well, after Mother would fix our lunch, sausage, biscuits, and a biscuit, and cookies, and such as that.
How would you take it, in a bucket or how?
We call it paper poke.
Okay.
But yeah.
What kind of games might you play at recess?
Hide and go seek, and races, run races.
Okay.
And the boys would kind of aggravate the girls and run from them. And anyway, we had a lively life.
What was your favorite subject in school?
I guess spelling. There was some I didn't like much, arithmetic, and I was slow about learning arithmetic. And I had a teacher that, even in my 4th grade, she wasn't very patient with me, and that didn't do me any good, but learning. I was learning about arithmetic then. And I had a good friend, my the oldest sister. Maybe she had married into a family. And one of the boys was older than I quite a bit, and he spent the night with us, and one night he taught me how to do arithmetic enough to really learn.
You had more patience
Yeah,
than she did.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get very far. I think I might have been a part of a season in the 8th grade, but didn't go any further than that.
Okay. Well, what did you do then? Help Dad on the farm?
Sure did. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. My brother, just younger than I, that I mentioned, would milk, or sometimes as many as 5 or 6 cows before breakfast, just like that. Yeah, for a lot of years.
And what would your mother fix for breakfast?
Scrambled eggs, and always have some kind of meat, biscuits, and gravy for breakfast. A lot of times. Jellies of different kinds.
Could smell it cooking, I bet.
Oh, yeah. And she would make beans and cake for dinner and supper, we call it.
So supper,
Whatever.
supper was the meal, the
Fried chicken, milk and butter.
raised your own chickens.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Who would do the killing when it was time?
Mother,
She did.
yeah. She'd just wring their neck.
That's what you had to do, wasn't it?
I doubt you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it, but
No.
did she have a big garden?
Oh yes. And I would help her in the garden. Well, I love to help her. I really love my mother. A little bit cautious of my dad. We never were very close. I loved him, but he was a strict guy. Yeah, he was. And
When you got in trouble, who would punish you? That's assuming you got in trouble.
well, he would. I don't think he ever whipped us, but he'd make us think he was going to. Yeah. It didn't help him much. I think, well, my older brothers, they left home in their late teens, and I didn't get to be around them very much. They didn't get along with my dad very much. He was pretty strict, and they didn't like it, and they left home. I can remember that. Come back occasionally and visit.
Well, did he get along with the sisters?
Yeah, quite well. And he was my dad was a good singer, and he had learned music when he was a youngster. and he was a real good singer, and he taught my brother and I to sing
Could you
in church.
in church? Do you have a favorite song?
Well, I have several.
Would you sing one a little bit? Okay.
I thought I had my Finchum in there. Men strive for the wealth of this wide, wicked world. They seek after honor and fame, so lavishly sporting their diamonds and pearls. They put the poor Savior to shame. I'd rather be a neighbor and live in a shack by the road than to live all my troubles. I've about forgotten that.
That's pretty good. Still can carry a tune. I thought you might sing Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. How's that?
Very good. Did you learn to play an instrument too, or just sing?
I picked the guitar.
Did he teach you how to do that?
Not really. He was a violinist, but after I was grown, I got my guitar and learned to pick things, and I sang in church, and later I was a church song director for several years, a lot of years.
Music's been a big part of your life?
Yes.
Well, where had he learned, your father?
In Arkansas, he liked to tell about being on a quartet, and said we'd sing he sang the tenor part in a quartet, and he said we'd win the banner. I don't know what he was talking about, but he said we'd win the banner for singing.
So he was from Arkansas?
Yes. Yeah.
And moved to Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Well, was your mother from Oklahoma, or?
Arkansas.
So they were married when they came?
Yes.
When they moved over?
Yeah. They were gracious people, but pretty strict. Dad was, and Mother was more than gracious to us.
Well, was church an important part of growing up?
Oh yeah, yeah. We'd go to church till we finally got a car, but in a hack.
I don't know what that is.
A real nice wagon with two mules pulling it.
And it's
Few
called,
years. Now, that didn't happen too long to me, but I remember a few times going to church in the hack.
that's a wagon and mules.
Yeah.
What kind of church?
Nazarene. They were called Nazarenes. pretty strict. Yeah.
Would they have revivals?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good gospel music.
Mm-hmm.
Well, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Later, after I grew up, I made a trip or two I went to Washington. I had my 21st birthday in the state of Washington. 3 more guys and I, a neighbor that we run together. We went to Yakima Valley in Washington to pick apples. And I had my 21st birthday.
To pick apples. That was a long way. How did you get there?
We rode in the back of a pickup with a neighbor that had friends there. They were going to Yakima, Washington, and we paid them gas money to let us ride out there.
And where would you stay at night?
All 4 of us went into a little one-room building in the back of a people's house, and they had it equipped with what we could batch with, and we picked apples all the season. I can't recall just how long that was now, but several weeks we picked apples when I was 21.
That would have been 38, kind of during the Depression time.
Yeah, yeah. Mm.
Have any memories from the Depression?
Well, we always seemed to have plenty, and I can't recall it affecting me all that much.
Well, do you like apples after having picked so many?
Oh, yeah.
So when did you get married? If you were doing that at 21, you weren't married yet?
No. Well, my memory's not as good as it should be.
Did you serve in the military?
No,
You didn't serve during the war, okay.
And I don't know why not. But I can tell the last month my memory is fading more than it has.
This one question is how did you meet your wife?
I was in my 20s, we still farmed, still at home, and we'd have little parties and I was there by myself, and this pretty girl was there by herself, and in playing games, we kind of hooked up, and I wasn't the most bashful guy then in the world, and so I asked her for a date. Maybe I took her home that night. I think I did. And I didn't mess around very long till I asked her to marry me. Hazel McCarter was her name.
Hazel.
Beautiful girl.
And did you get married in a church or at the Justice of the Peace or at home?
I'm ashamed that I can't think of that right now.
That's okay.
But we raised a nice daughter and a son.
Why did you stay in Oklahoma?
We went to California.
Why California?
I was farming here and kind of starving at the same time. Had a good friend that I knew here, and he lived in California. A couple of years he'd come back in a nice car, and we visited. I said, "You'll get me a job with your." He worked for a big rancher that had him and two more guys driving tractors, and I'd never seen a tractor, much less drive one. But I'll shorten this as much as I can remember about it. I told him if he'd get me a job, we'd move out there. We did. I was a little slow about learning how to operate those tractors, but I worked for him about a year, and the owner of the ranch, I could understand he wasn't exactly pleased with me because I wasn't as good as the other men with equipment and stuff, even though I was a good hard worker. So he never did fire me, but I quit. And I took a job for the school system. There was a big school system. 3 or 4 districts had gone together, and it was still known as the biggest school district anywhere, I think. It had a district superintendent and assistant superintendent, and I talked to him about a job, and I said, "I'm looking for a job." I said, "I have a job right now, but I'm going to quit." And we had quite a conversation. He said, "I've been hoping to meet a man just like you say." I had told him that I wouldn't quit my job until I gave him a chance to get somebody in my place if he wanted to. But I was going to quit. And he said, "We have this little school, Bolsa School, 4 rooms and 4 teachers, and the secretary. One of the teachers is the principal of the school." And said there's about 60 children that they can't go to the regular schools. They can't learn, and said they're all ages, and said we can't hardly keep anybody to work as a custodian at that school. And he said, I've been hoping to meet a man like you. Said, would you be interested? I said, I'm more than interested. I'll take the job. Did you ever hear of anything like this? There were about 60 or maybe 65, all ages and some sizes, because I was they wasn't bad enough to be put away or kept home, but they were trying to learn. And the teachers, I worked there for a lot of years as custodian in California.
Roughly what years do you remember? 50s, 1960s?
I'm sorry I couldn't
That's
name
okay.
it.
Did you retire from there?
Yeah,
Did you? So a long time.
I did, yeah, long time, yeah. No, I'm not telling it right. I worked at that school about 4 years. They built a new school, and the superintendent wanted me to take the new school as custodian, and they did away. I don't know what happened. I can't remember if I ever knew what happened to that little school of 60-some kids that couldn't learn to read hardly. And that's where I spent the rest of my time.
Okay.
At this new, took a new big school. 3 districts had gone together and made one district, Garden Grove District, and I got a new school to open up as custodian and spent the rest of my time there as custodian. Retired.
What town was that?
Santa Ana, California.
Not been there. It sounds pretty though. What would you do for fun?
Well, I was quite a ball player, baseball, and I started umpiring. And I made pretty good umpire. I'd worked some good umpired about 10 or 12 years.
Wow. Behind the plate or
baseball, yeah.
behind the plate?
Yeah. I always wanted to be an umpire. I don't know why. I read and heard of a umpire school in Florida, but I never could get the money to go. But I started this umpiring maybe, got some books and so forth. I made a pretty good umpire. Yeah, a lot of years. At night, I'd go and worked at the school as custodian in the daytime. One night, a dressed up guy after the ball game, and he said, could I speak with you a minute? He introduced himself. He said, I have this school, I call it. We prepare guys want to make major league umpires. Said we prepare them for the minor leagues, and said they'll work there till they're good enough to, and the majors will call them up. I said I've always wanted to be a major league umpire. And we talked, and boy, we were getting. And he said, "By the way, what is your age?" And I said, "I'm 48. I'm 48." And he just kind of, oh my. I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "They have a silly rule that major league umpires have to retire at 52. Said we're fighting that rule and we're going to win, but said now you might not only work for 2 years." So that was kind of the end of my story.
You didn't do it.
No.
Well, what league were you working for as the ump?
It was just Santa Ana and Huntington Beach, all ages, and baseball.
Is that what they call the Pony League?
I worked that, and I also worked the fast pitch and any of them. This guy that had been watching me that night, he said, I've been to all the parks around for about a week, and said, you're the only one I'll be interested in. Said, I like your way of working, and said, you'll be a major league before you know it. But my age was...
Made you feel good though, didn't it?
Yeah, I can brag about it.
Well, did you ever play baseball as a kid?
Oh yeah.
For a town or just in school? Like, did the town have a baseball team?
No, I never did.
Worcester?
I never did. No, I never did get paid to play ball.
Well, did you get paid to ump?
Oh yeah.
They paid you?
Oh yeah. I didn't make a lot of money being a custodian. But I did some good.
Well, did you teach your son how to play baseball?
He never did like it though.
He did.
He liked to play golf, and he made a golf teacher even. Teaches it now.
Hey.
He lives in just out of Denver, and he calls me once in a while.
Well,
You can get his picture over there. Right under your picture.
okay. Well, what brought you back to Oklahoma? Retirement?
Yeah.
Came back home?
That's it.
Well, are you the first in your family to make it to 100?
My oldest sister, I think, was 98. I think she was.
What's your secret to living so long?
I don't have any secret. I just live.
I think it's exercise. since you were doing that when we came in.
Did you ever think you'd make it to 100?
Never give it a thought. No,
Not when you reach 99 and say, one more year?
no.
How old were your parents?
I don't know their exact age, but they were quite elderly.
In their 80s or so?
Oh yeah, yeah, and they stayed active. I never did see them put away. They died at home.
Still on the farm?
Yeah.
So they had to stay busy then.
I'm slowly but surely getting a little more forgetful than I like to be. But what I tell you, it happened or didn't happen.
Well, what's a typical day like for you at 100? What?
Now,
Yeah. What time do you get up, and what do you do, and then what time do you during the day, and when do you go to bed?
I get up about 7, fix my own breakfast, and try to keep my house livable enough for me anyway.
And who's Marjorie?
My wife. We're not married, but we're just as same as married. I love her to pieces. I wish you could see her.
How did you meet her?
I'll have to think.
Or how long have you known her?
About 20 years.
Wow.
So you go and see her every day?
Every
Do
day.
you have lunch or just visit, or?
I have lunch here. And it catches between 1 and 2 o'clock. And my daughter comes and gets me at 8:30 tonight.
It's a pretty good long visit.
She's a jewel of a lady.
I'd say she'd say the same about you.
Well, when I go in, she thinks Santa Claus had come. When I leave, she almost cries. And I'm the same way. She's always beautiful. Thank you, Lord, for Marjorie.
So you come home at 8 o'clock, and then do you get
8:30.
8:30? And what time do you usually go to bed?
Pretty soon after I get here. And
That's a long day.
And no naps in between.
no,
No?
Oh my gosh.
Well, when did you give up driving?
oh,
Or have you?
yeah.
You have.
I had a good little car, and I had 2 minor,
Fender benders?
yep. One of them was my fault. The other one was a woman's fault, but I got blamed. They took my driver's license.
Well, speaking of driving, do you remember your first car?
I'm sorry, I don't. I just don't.
Or your dad's? Probably a Model T or a Model A.
I remember one he had, I believe it was a Chevrolet. But he had to crank it. Seemed like that was a Ford, that he called it kicked back and broke his wrist.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
But he did have a car when I was just a kid.
He was probably happier with a horse.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Was it pretty hard to break a horse? You said when you were younger he had you do it.
Well, I liked horses, and we'd break the mules to work as a 2-year-old. I don't know if you know anything about mules, but I'd first let them know I wasn't going to hurt them. And I'd put the harness on them and put them with an older horse, fasten them to their hames, it's called. And it was just a matter of having patience and working with, realize they're an animal. And I didn't have that much trouble.
Are mules as stubborn as they say?
No. I don't know where that came from.
Well, what were holidays like back in your youth?
Well, we just wouldn't have to work, was the great thing.
Would you have a Christmas tree?
Oh yeah.
And maybe one present?
Yeah.
How often would you get new shoes?
Well, my dad learned how to even repair shoes pretty good.
Necessity has us learn a lot of things, doesn't it? Well, did your mother make your clothes?
No.
Made the girls?
I have this thing about shoes. That's a pretty good pair of shoes right there. I gave $144 for them. My son was here a couple of years ago, I guess. I have 6 pair of boots. I have about 12 pair of shoes. My son saw these shoes. Dad, where'd you get those shoes? I took him out to the store, and he got all fit up in a pair of these shoes, and I paid the lady for them. He goes, "No, Dad, I'm gonna pay for it." "No, I'll pay for it." And he told myself, I said, "Dad, that's the best pair of shoes I've ever had." They are a good shoe. I'm getting silly now.
No, you're doing fine. Your daughter will be saying, "Where's hers? Where's her new pair of shoes?"
Made a deal with my daughter. I was talking about losing my driver's license.
Mhm.
I had a good, long, crackerjack little car. Took the driver's test. Did all right, but I missed too many road signs. They've got them that I've never seen. Took it again, got a book that read up on them. Still missed 3 too many. Couldn't get my driver's license. But I don't guess I could drive now, but even a year ago I could have. But missed too many of those road signs that some of them, a lot of them I'd never seen. Anyway.
And they've changed the color of some of them.
Yeah, yeah.
They have.
I doubt if you guys could pass. Made a deal with my daughter. Said, I'm going to see Marjorie one way or another as long as I can. I said, I'll give you $5,000, my car, and my house. Well, she knew if I kicked the bucket, Roddy would get part of the house. I said, I'll make it all right with Rod about the house. And I did. I gave him $79,000. Said, I'm going to
So the deal was that she'd come get you at 8 and bring you home every day from
Yeah.
seeing Marjorie. Pretty good deal.
She said, I'll take you. No, said, I'll come and get you, but I won't take you. I think she ought to take me, but she has other things to do, I guess.
Think that works for the moment, doesn't it? Yes.
It costs me $1 a day.
Good.
Well, is there anything on your bucket list that you'd like to do that you've never done before?
How much?
Anything on your bucket list? Something you always wanted to do, but
I can't think of anything. I think of places that I wish Marjorie and I had gone before she fell. She fell one night. She was running on a hard floor, and I've known her, I guess, 20 years.
Yeah.
And we should have gotten married, but she never could come up with her marriage, or what is it you have to have?
the license.
Yeah, yeah. And now we don't even think about it.
Well, when history is written, what would you like it to say about you? How do you want to be remembered?
The guy was truthful and honest. How's that?
It's pretty good.
And he could carry a good tune. Good.
Yeah.
When all of your friends forsake you, and on alone you trot, don't yield to sin or weary, but still have faith in God. He's far the truest helper that you have ever met, and he your soul remembers when other friends forget.
Very good. I haven't heard that one either. My favorite's I'll Fly Away.
Good. That's a good one.
I can't sing, but I love to hear it.
I can't sing anymore either.
It sounds pretty good to me. Well, anything else you want to add before we cut the camera off?
Will I cut that thing off now?
You've been great. Thank you for sharing your